All right, welcome back once again. And once again, my name is Full Colon Nathaniel, hyphen Nima, Full Colon Dio, Tildy Jr. I am a living man, and that's why I punctuate my name. I am a fact. You can see me. Well, technically you can't see me right now because I'm not on camera because I don't have that set up right now, and I'm not in a conducive environment to do that. But it doesn't matter. You can hear me, and eventually you'll be able to see me to kind of conjugate to your perception that I am a real living human being and not an artificial being. All right, let's get to it. So we just finished the project window. I figured that I just touch on one more thing before I get busy for the weekdays, which will be coming up here within the next 3 minutes. So I just figured I'd touch base on mouse mode, just like the basic part of the mouse modes. And then we can do on page 55, we can focus on doing a lot more of like handling objects and stuff like that. Because we'll need to take some time on that. That might be an hour just to handle objects because we got to do a range mode, object mode, curve mode, object curve mode, left to right mode, cut mode, pitch shift, time stretch mode, draw volume mode. We want to include all that in one video. Draw wave mode, spectral mode. We want to try to get to all of that in one scrubbing mode, zoom mode, color mode, and yeah. I mean, some of it we went through, but we have to go into it as it says, and then temporarily switching to other mouse modes. So you get the idea. We're going to be going to a lot of modes, mouse mode, and then we're probably going to stop at temporarily switching to other mouse modes and do that on a separate channel. So that'll be from 55 to that 62. It's going to be a in-depth, probably going to be about an hour or so for us to be able to focus on that. And then we will pick up from the other side. So let's go to page 53. The middle of 53. And that's where we're going to pick up off of mouse mode. Okay. So we are going to, of course, new. So we're going to do mouse mode, and we already have it where we want it to be, and that's in our Samplitude manual product. So we'll go select folder, and then we're just going to do the same usual 4 tracks and the bus channel. All right, now we are in mouse mode. Okay, and before I do anything, I am going to go ahead and first do this before I forget, just in case if I decided to play audio later, we can have that coming out. All right, let's get back to it. So we're in mouse mode. So we have different various mouse modes. When we're doing the toolbars, we went through a lot of the mouse modes. And if you're not aware, just go ahead and see that video. Now, I don't know how to, like add those videos where it pops up here and then you can click on it. I'm going to learn how to do that. I'm probably going to ask YouTube, how do I add video in my screen? Then I can go back to those videos and add the relevant video that correspond with it. So with that being said, we're just going to touch base. This is the mouse mode. You got different various function here in the mouse mode. And if you right click it, you can go to edit the toolbar, or you can add, you can go to big toolbar, which makes it bigger. And then you can go to edit toolbar, which brings you to this screen here. And we did all that. We went to, and we got to custom, how we can add our own. We added this and so forth. So we're just going to kind of go through major mouse mode that might help us work faster. Okay. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get at it. All right. We're going to just bring this in for demonstration purposes, although we haven't really been using and listening to audio, but we're just going to bring that in for demonstration purposes. And just in case, if you want a little, I think it was on 3. Okay, just in case if you want just a little bit of what this is this song that I was trying to play. All right. So that is that. So now let's get into the mouse mode. So as I said, as I told you already, there are various, and you can also come down here, right click, and you can edit it to, you can edit your workspace and do all that other sweet, unique kind of a thing. So without any further ado, excuse me, let's get to it. So it said the mouse menu next to the icon with the current mouse mode, which is this one here, can be used to select different mouse mode. So you can either come up here and do that and select and do, which is what I've been doing. But as I was browsing through, that's why I want us to do this video before I get busy. Is let's skip the picture. So it says there are various mouse modes can also be chosen to menu by pressing edit mouse mode, which is you can go to edit, okay, mouse mode, and you get to choose in between there. So you can do that as well. I feel like that's doing too much. So then you have other options to say if you click and hold the right mouse button and then click the left mouse button, that will bring up the same thing that you're seeing here. So let's try doing it. So I'm right clicking on my mouse right now. I'm right clicking and then I left click at this. My hand is still down on the right mouse and then I left click. It brings up this menu. So I don't have to go all the way up there and do all the funny stuff. And you know, if I want to switch to range mode, I can automatically just switch into range mode. This is when you see this thing like this is the range mode. This is range mode. So if I right click again while holding right click and I left click, I can go into curve mode. So we'll kind of understand what curve mode really does. If I right click and click again, I can go to volume objects. So I just double click in it, does go in there. We don't want to go to that right now. Okay, so you get the gist that if you right click and left click, you can go to various, and you want to take your hand off at the same time. So you can go to draw volume like we did earlier. We can go, so that brings the draw volume key. Okay. Okay, and we're gonna have to learn how to undo the draw button when we do that, but it doesn't matter. Okay, all right. So that's the easy way to be able to get that. We're gonna do color zoom. I don't know why you use that color, but that's color zoom. Okay. Oh, so if I right click on it, it disables the color. If I left click it activates the color. So right click again. So we'll use green. So now let's go into zoom mode. So if you hold down the left key and you go and hold it down and move it over, you zoom into that area. If you click and hold the zoom key and you move over, it will zoom in. You click and hold, it will keep zooming in. But if you right click, then it comes out. Okay, so I just switching to the mouse mode much faster. And it say if you press shift and while pressing shift and the click right mouse button, you can, so if you press shift and right click, you can also be able to pull this up. So just hold shift, right click, and it should be able to bring you to, so this is spectral mode. I guess I get to know this a lot more when we start using those very valuable knowledge. This would be really good to know. Okay. All right, so then it say if you press Shift plus content menu next to it, so you have two control buttons. One is on your left side of the keyboard to the bottom left, and then there's one to the bottom middle right, where right before your arrow button, the up and down arrows, and those, depending on the kind of keyboard that you have. Let's see this universal keyboard. So where your up and down arrow might be on your keyboard, it's gonna be like to the bottom between the Alt and the Control key. It's gonna be over there. If you go on your left hand side, it's gonna be your Start menu. When you press it, it's gonna bring this kind of menu up. But on your right hand side, when you push this, it's just a contents key. So if you push, if you press Shift and you click that, it should be able to bring that. So no matter where your mouse is at, if your mouse is here, if you press Shift and that content key, you should be able to bring this up as well. So that is awesome. So now it's explaining to us we're in universal mode, which is this right here. So we're in, so as it said, Shift context. So we're in universal mode. So range mode, curve mode, all those one, but we're in, they got object mode as well. I guess object mode is just to really be able to move the object from one location to another. But universal mode is very useful because you can do at least 2 or 3 things that, you know, with one single control compared to going to various ones. So Shift content control, we're going to go to universal. Okay, so it's in the upper half. So if you look at an audio wave, so if you have a mono signal, you will have to, I don't have a mono signal right now, but we can always go back over it when that time comes. But if you have a mono signal, because right now I don't have an audio recording that can give me a mono signal right now. I don't have anything hooked up that I can record to show you a mono signal. But for now, we're in stereo, and you have what is called, if you look at this wave pattern, you see in the middle here, there is this gap right here, and then you got the up here and you have the down here. So if you look at this compared to this mode, right in the middle will be considered half of it. This is the bottom, this is the upper. Okay, so the reason why it's important to know is because as you go down, you get a different function of the mouse. If you go up, you get a different function. So if you're up, you get the range aspect. I've been trying to figure out a lot of stuff with the range stuff. And if you go down, it's mostly object mode. So that means that you come down here, you can be able to move the object back and forth. Up here is range mode, if you want to look at it like that. So on the upper half here, if you're down here, you will not be able to, you'll just be clicking on the project. But if you're up here, you can set your cursor mode wherever. If you're in the upper half of the screen, if you shift click and select a range between play cursor and the click position. So I'm shift clicking. You already create a range right there. So let's just say if you had, let's delete this. Let's get rid of that. Let's just say you started something from here. You're up here and you started something from here. Let's see if this is actually going through. It's not coming through. Okay. Let's see why it's not coming through. Are you kidding me? So I did that already. So let's go back again. If you go ahead and press play. Okay, so you see how the chorus comes in right there. if you wanted to just loop that first portion, you just press, hold down shift keys, and then you click right here, boom, you have that loop already. So that means that if you're playing, you will just play just that loop, okay? Actually, it's just a range. It's only a loop if you actually have, let's go Control Shift B. If you had the loop thing active. So it will just be a range. It will stop at that range. And if you want to set that range as a range, you already know what we do. We press 1 to be that range, and that's that range. Okay? So, what else that we want to do? So shift click creates the range. Shift click outside of the existing range, it just extended. So for example, if we close this up and we hold shift and we just come over here, we say, you know what, we want to include this hook in it. If we come out here and click, it just extend the range. Isn't that awesome? So that's just the upper part. And then to do the range as well, you know that to do the range, if you come up here as well, you can also do the range up here. You know, that's what the range, when you come here, you see I changed the range mode. So you can also do it up there if you want to. So if you click and drag within existing range and move. So for example, we have, this is the range. This is a range. If I hold shift, if I click, okay. It says shift click outside of the range. We did that. Click and drag within existing range. So this is the existing range. If I click and drag, you know, it just moved the border of it. If I come here, I just move the borders of it. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Now we're on page 55. Say if you click and drag without, if you click and drag without existing range or outside the existing range, select a range. Click and drag without existing range. So if there was an existing range, if you click and drag, that is the existing range. Okay. Or you can just go outside that range and create another range. So if you shift and click plus drag within existing range, move this range. So for example, this is this range here. If I hold shift and I click on this range and I move it, all it does is just move this range from one area to another. So it would be very nice to kind of get an idea if I wanted to, let's just say it's on loop. Let's put it on loop and press play. So okay, so that's just using the upper half of the wave and as far as up here as well. So now the lower part of the object, which is down here, like I told you, as soon as you reach the middle, you're already using the range. When you come down, use object mode, which we're about to go through now. So click on an object, it selects the object. So if you're up here, let's just see up here. If you click up here, we're not really, you know, click on the object, just be moving the play cursor. But if you move down and you click down there, then you are able to grab the object. If you hit Control and click on the object, as single object to the selection. So if I click Control and I click on the object, I have duplicated it. Okay. So there's Control Z. Okay. If I shift and click on the object, it add all object between listed. So for example, let's just say I had boom, boom, boom. Okay, so let's just say I had this highlighted, and if I go and hold shift and I click up here, it will highlight everything. So that's pretty much what it's saying. Okay, and then shift click on the object. So click between objects and drag to the right. So so let's just say I have two objects here, right? And it's kind of hard to really click in between the objects because It's a very thin line. So you see right there, it clicks on the object. But if I click it, it doesn't click on it. So if I click and hold and move this, because it's connected to the object, if there's one down here, it will select all of them. Okay, so it's called spin a selection frame, object lasso. All objects touched by it are selected. So anything that touched that line that I created gets highlighted, and I can go ahead and do what I want to do along with it. Okay, so then if I do the same thing, if I shift click between objects, so shift and click between object and drag it to the right, spans the selection from the all object touched by it are added to the existing selection. So if I leave this open and I had another one up there with doing the same thing what I just did, shift click and highlight it, it will go ahead and do that. It will go ahead and highlight everything. It will add it to the selection. So shift click between object, we did that one. So if I click between object and then go to the left, it's the same thing as just going to the left. Okay. And if I shift click and do the same thing, it will be the same thing. So now we come to another part of the thing. If I double click, if I go up here and double click, it won't do anything, no matter how many times I double click. But if I come down here on the lower half and I double click, it brings the object editor button, which I was talking to you earlier. You can add pre-plugins. You can do fades. You can do time stretch before you even start to apply any effects. So double clicking object, so for example, if I had, okay, let's cut here. Let's see. So let's just say this object is here, and I split it here, I split it here, I split it here. If I come out, it's just individual object. But if I was to double click on, if there was an object up here, let's see, shift, I go to Control Z first. Let's put this duplicate there, and let's see. If I come here, it's trying to tell me if I double click, it should highlight the entire. So double click between object, or between the object. You know, that's something I'm going to have to figure out, because I'm not sure exactly what is trying to double clicking where. That is one thing we're going to have to figure out. Because it said double clicking between objects, select all objects of the track. And I'm double clicking between the object. Okay, so we'll skip that one for now, and we will get answer on that one later on. When I figure something out, I will let you know, Nathaniel. So bulletin, the one I said double click between objects, select all objects in that track. Let's see. Let's go back. Let's go to redo, edit, undo history. Let's go to split objects. Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out to see specifically what they're referring to. And then, so of course the next one is just saying clicking and holding on, clicking here, holding move the object. Okay. So this one will probably happen if it doesn't have no time, if you don't have no leverage on the end of the project and you want to move this project. So what it's saying is that if you press shift plus the left click, all this is the left button. If you shift plus left plus click on an object plus drag, it moves object with locked of horizontal time position to move to another track. So if you don't have no more like horizontal room or space here, it will move it to another track. If you click shift, click on an object and drag. So shift, click, and drag. Okay, so that means that it doesn't move in time, like you know how you go like this. You know how it moves like that when you're moving it. If you just do the shift and you click and drag, it will always be within that time, so that it's almost as if it is locked and you're trying to move it. It can't move anywhere else, but it can just move off vertically without changing its time position. Okay. Control, click on an object and drag. Okay, we already know that one. Control, and if you double control, and then if you click and hold it and move it, that just duplicates the object. These are just few mouse modes that I wanted us to touch base on. We're going to take time to go to the object handles and try to do more with those over there. So I want to say thank you for tuning in at this time. I hope this information was pleasing to you, Nathaniel, and I hope that you have a very lovely and peaceful day. Peace.